Please be seated. The court is now in session, and today the chamber will continue to hear the testimony of the witness, Van Seun. Ms. Chia Si Huang, could you report the attendance of the parties and individuals to today's proceedings? Ms. Si Huang, Mr. President, for today's proceedings, all parties to discuss are present. As for Arthur Wek Kang, the counsel for the accused is absent, and Noon Chi is present in the holding cell downstairs as he requests to have his rights to be present in the courtroom. His waiver has been delivered to the greffier. The witness who is to continue his testimony today, Mr. Van Seun, and his duty counsel, Mom Suthia, are present in the courtroom. Thank you. President, thank you. The Chamber now decides on the request by Noon Chia. The Chamber has received a waiver from Noon Chia, dated 4th March 2015. He confirms that due to his poor health condition, that is headache, back pain, and that he cannot sit for long, and in order to effectively participate in the future hearings, he requests to waive his rights to participate in and be present at the 4th March 2015 hearing. He has been informed by his counsel about the consequence of this waiver, that in no way it can be construed as a waiver of his rights to be tried fairly or to challenge evidence presented or admitted to this court at any time during this trial. Having seen the medical report, my duty doctor for the accused Noon Chia at the ECCC, dated 4th March 2015, who notes that the health condition of Noon Chia is that he has back pain and dizziness when he sits for long, and recommends that the Chamber shall grant him his request so that he can follow the proceedings remotely from a holding cell downstairs. Based on the above information and pursuant to Rule 81.5 of the ECCC internal rules, the Chamber grants Noon Chia's request to follow the proceedings remotely from a holding cell downstairs via an audio-visual means for today's proceedings, as he waives his direct presence in the courtroom. The AV unit is instructed to link the proceedings to the room downstairs so that Noon Chia can participate in and follow today's proceedings remotely. The Chamber would like to provide a narrative on interpretation. Before the proceedings commence, the Chamber wishes to remind the parties that every time a person speaks into a microphone in this courtroom, it must be translated into 2 other languages. In order to create a proper record of these proceedings and to permit the interpretation professionals to do their job, it is imperative that parties speak slowly and clearly. In addition, long or complex sentences and compound questions may confuse individuals who are testifying, and are not amenable to accurate translation. Parties should therefore endeavor to use simple language and avoid putting multiple questions to a witness, civil party, or expert simultaneously. Rather than saving time, such methods create further confusion, which may prevent the orderly and expeditious conduct of these proceedings. I have asked the interpreters to inform the chamber when the rate of speech is not conducive to proper translation. I may also direct parties to simplify questions when they are overly long, complex, or compound in nature. And the chamber would also like to remind the national colleagues of those foreign counsels or lawyers, please assist them who speak a foreign language to slow down in case he or she speaks too fast. Second, please, from time to time, look at the bench. If there need to be a signal to the bench to request for instruction to slow down the speaker. This is actually a repetitive reminder to all parties regarding the interpretation, as it may have an impact on the transcription. During the last few days, we have some issues with transcription records, and in order to avoid further disruption or any improper record, and in order to make the proceedings effectively, the parties shall be reminded of this process on the interpretation, because we need accurate interpretation of the person who speaks, who is on the floor. And now we would like to hand the floor to the prosecution to continue putting questions to this witness.
Merci, Monsieur le Président, et bonjour à vous.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning to you, Your Honors, and members of the Chamber and the parties. Mr. Van Son, I started examining you yesterday, and I will continue today up to 11 a.m. Yesterday, you said you were a security guard at Krantachan as from 1975, and you worked as a messenger, bearing messages to the districts. As part of your duties, you delivered envelopes, and you explained that Ta'an, the chief of the security center, wrote handwritten messages on those envelopes, and you said that you could recognize Ta'an's handwriting. Mr. President, I would like to give the witness a document and request that that document be placed on the screen, and it is D32/7.2. It is a single page.
Yes, you may proceed.
Non, Monsieur le témoin, je vous demande...
Mr. Witness, may I request you to look at the portion that is in the box at the bottom of the page, and on it is written Education Center 105. We have so far eliminated 15,000 enemies. May I request the parties to take note of the party center signed Ta'an. Are you in a position to identify that handwriting and tell us whether it is Ta'an's handwriting or not?
Witness, I cannot say for sure whether that is his own handwriting, because it's been almost 40 years when I saw his handwriting.
Et concernant la
And regarding the signature at the bottom, when you were at Kranta Chan, did you see Ta'an's signature? And if yes, can you tell us whether you can recognize this signature as her signature?
No, I do not recognize it.
Concernant
regarding the number of entries and the procedure for admitting persons to Kranta Chan Center, you gave a few figures. You particularly stated, and I quote, in the first record of your interview, D40/23, on page Khmer 00223211, in French 00490910. I gave the wrong number. In the English is 00223211. In Khmer 00165355. I believe that your counsel still has the record of your interviews with him. Is that correct?
Donc je vais lire ce que vous avez dit.
Let me read what you stated. Question. Regarding prisoners admitted to Kranta Chan Center in general, how many of them were there each time they were brought in? Your answer, when were they brought in and by what means of transportation? Your answer was as follows. They brought prisoners in 2 or 3 at a time. There were about 20 to 25 prisoners a month. They walked them in at night about 7 or 8 o'clock. Question. Were the prisoners brought in restrained or shackled? Answer. In general, the prisoners were brought in, both hands tied behind them, one tied at the wrist and another at the biceps, and they were tied with a line from one to the next. On the same page, you stated that in each building there were about 20 to 25 prisoners. And on the next page, you pointed out that there were 3 buildings housing detainees at Kranta Chan, one of which was older than the others and wasn't very much in use. Regarding the figures you've given, I would like to show you a report E3/2109, given to the parties in November 1997. I will request that only the first page of that report be placed on the screen.
Yes, you may proceed.
Alors c'est un rapport qui a déjà été authentifié par un autre témoin auparavant. Je lis le début. 1. Les problèmes des prisonniers.
That report has already been presented. I'll read from the first page. 1. Prisoners. During November 77, 75 persons entered. Total 184 persons. Purged 92 persons. Died of illness, 6 persons. Anchor removed to sector, 1 person, a lieutenant colonel. Total remaining now 85 persons, end of quote. So in this report of the Krantachan Center, it is stated that in the month of November, there were 75 persons admitted, and there were 184 persons in total. 92 were purged, and 6 died of illness. Does this refresh your memory regarding the fact that in 1 month, the number of executions was higher than the number you gave the co-investigating judges, investigators?
Regarding this point, I was not the one who made the statistics or the list, but yes, I noticed the prisoners were brought in on a monthly basis and the number varied.
Dans ce rapport, il est dit que 92 personnes.
In this report, it is stated that 92 persons were purged. In the language used during that period, what does the word purged mean?
The word purge means they were smashed, means executed.
Est-ce qu'il y avait des périodes que vous...
Were there periods during which you could identify more entries and more executions at Krantachan Center than in other years?
Long.
As I was not there on a regular basis, I did not know what was happening inside the compound, and that was in addition to the fact that I was the youngest amongst our unit.
Et quand vous dites que vous n'étiez pas là de façon...
And when you say that you weren't there regularly, are you suggesting that you were outside of the center since you were a messenger and you only came in to deliver mails from outside of the camp? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Je voudrais lire...
I would like to read out what Sim, your former colleague, fellow security guard at Krantachan, said regarding the number of new entries, and it is document D40/20. This is what he stated. In Khmer, the ERN is 00165333. In French, 00524321. And in English, 00433572. And this is a question that was put to him, and I quote, in general, how many prisoners had to be brought in each time? Did the prisoners arrive in different numbers? The answer was as follows: sometimes 10, sometimes 5, sometimes 1. Almost every single day, new prisoners arrived. At the hearing of the 19th of February, Dan alias Duch, between 11:12 and 11:15, he pointed out that the number of prisoners brought in at Krantachan varied from 3, 4, and even up to 20 prisoners a day. These two statements by Sim and alias Duch refresh your memory regarding the number of new entries per day, per month, and the frequency with which they came. At Krang Tachan, Sim said that they came in practically every day.
The number of prisoners varied, and yes, the prisoners were sent in almost on a daily basis.
Dans l'extrait que j'ai lu,
In the extract I read out earlier, you stated that there were about 20 to 25 detainees per building, and there were 3 buildings. And this is what Setan alias Duch, a former guard at Krantachan, said. He said this at the hearing of the 19th of February 2015 between 11:14 and 11:16. And the transcript number is E1/266.1. And this is what he stated. There were 2 buildings at Krantachan. Each building could house 50 to 60 prisoners, end of quote. And as Little Dutch said, were there times when more than 50 prisoners were detained in each of those buildings at Krantachan?
Out of the 3 buildings, 1 building was very old, and for the other 2 buildings, yes, each building could accommodate that number of prisoners.
est-ce que dans votre souvenir, vous...
To the best of your recollection, do you remember a time that was out of the ordinary when a more significant number of prisoners, approximately 100 prisoners, were sent to Krantachan in one go? Do you remember that?
No, I did not witness that.
Donc vous n'étiez pas toujours...
I know you were not always there, but do you recall a time when a category of persons brought into Krantachan were directly executed upon their arrival without having been detained and without having been interrogated?
I'd like to state that the family members of Yenyo, Takon and Boon, were arrested, interrogated, and killed just after they arrived.
D'accord.
Very well. I have indeed understood your testimony regarding Yenyo Dun Ebun family, but regarding the other group, do you have any information to the effect that that group was brought to Krantachan for the purpose of being executed and not for interrogation purposes?
I was there. I did not see it or witness such an event.
Est-ce que vous pourriez nous dire...
And can you tell us who brought in the new prisoners to Krantachan?
Les accompagner.
Who accompanied them?
The people who brought them in from the light offense prisoners near Oroka market, I did not know them because when they brought prisoners in, I did not see them.
Vous n'avez jamais vu
You never saw militiamen accompany detainees to the entrance, at least to the external entrance of Krantachan, and as they brought him to the center?
That is correct.
Est-ce qu'il y a
Was there any system set up when new people would arrive outside? And could the people accompanying them come into the center, or did they have to stay outside and give these people to the security guards?
Answer: they were brought and they were delivered to the compound about 1 kilometer away from the detention.
And how did the guards at the center, how were they warned of their arrival? Was it any kind of system set up to warn the staff that new people would be coming in 1 kilometer outside of the center?
Answer: when they were brought to the point, they were directly brought in. Because there was no telephone, no iPhone, people would travel on foot to the place.
If there were no iPhones or phones, was there any kind of bell that they would ring to say that new people were arriving?
Answer: people were traveling on foot from place to place.
I understood. And the people accompanying new prisoners who would deliver them to the compound, would they ring a bell to warn that they had arrived?
Answer: the key and lock were two levels, the one outside and another one inside, and we would unlock the two keys to allow people to bring in the prisoners.
Okay.
Okay, I will stop here with this topic, and I'm going to get back to your work as a messenger, and I will speak about the communication between the Krang Tak Chang Center and the district office. You said in your second written record of interview, E319.1.33, at question 230, which was the following, free translation: did you deliver letters from the office, district office to the Krang Tak Chang compound? Answer: no. Generally speaking, I would deliver letters from the district office to the district offices, and then 4 to 5 days later, someone else would bring letters to the compound. End of quote, free translation. And in the same written record of interview, a little earlier on, you said the following at question 29. Did you know the messengers delivering letters from the town hall to Krang Tak Chang? Answer: yes. There was a messenger delivering messages from the town hall to Krang Tachang, and his name was Horl, H-O-R-L. Many, many messengers working at the district hall, but only Hall would deliver the messages from the district office to Krang Tachang. And you said yesterday that you would go to the district office every day or once every 3 days. And the so-named Hall, a district messenger, would he also come often to the Krang Tachang center, as often as you would go to the district office?
Answer. Hall was always working with the district chief. He did not often enter into the compound, but he would deliver a letter at the outside gate.
Fine. So, did he come often to the Krang Tachang compound to bring mail? And you said that you would bring letters to the district office, but then 4 to 5 days later, somebody would bring letters to the compound. Did he go, therefore, as often to Krang Tachang as you would go to the district office to deliver letters as well?
Answer. I don't know that for sure. Sometime I saw him coming to the center when I went to the district office, and sometime a day or two later, the letter was sent from the district to the external gate of the center at Krang Tachang.
And when you were a messenger at Krang Tachang, did you ever meet a messenger who was also working at District 105 for Tachim and Takit, and whose name was Hy Thum, Hy Thum, T-O-M. He was about 12 years old, and apparently he came from Cheng Thon Commune. Does that ring a bell?
Answer. I know only one messenger from the district office. I don't know other young messengers. They were also young as me, but our communication was not as friendly as other people. So when they deliver a letter and they would return, so I did not talk to them at the time.
And I imagine you don't know the full name of Hall. Or if you know his name, his full name, can you tell it to us?
Answer. I don't know his birthplace because I was young and he was also young. I did not ask for his home village, and Hall was a short guy, with rather white complexion, white skin.
Fine. I now would like to read out to you what your former colleague Sim said to the co-investigating judge. This is document D40/20, Khmer ERN 00165332, French 00524320, English 00433571. And the following question is put to him. When you were told during the meetings that this was the day you had to execute the prisoners, where did the executioners come from? Seems answer. And I'm going to use the English version here, which seems to be a better translation. So, Sim's answer in English states the following.
After the meetings, they had the list that had been sent to the district. When those lists were returned, I looked and saw that the names lined through in red ballpoint pen were the names of those who had been taken away and killed. End of quote.
And further, and I will switch back to French, and he said the following. But since this is how they explained it to me, the names of the people who were crossed out in red had to be liquidated. What was the name of the person who told you that? Duch, the typist. He is the one who knew it. He is the one who told me. End of quote.
Est-ce que
Did you also see documents in the hands of the people leading Krang Tachang with annotations or names that had been underlined in red ballpoint?
Answer. I didn't witness anything like that.
vous avez dit
You said in your written record of interview E319.1.33 at question 54, which states, did you notice anything strange after you had delivered letters from the Krang Tachang Security Center to the district office? Answer. Yes. Each time there were killings. Question 55. Did the executions occur before or after you delivered the letters to the district office? Answer. After I delivered letters to the district would then transfer these letters to Krang Tachang, and then they would start executing people. Question 56. So these letters were probably reports on prisoners or confessions. Is that so? Your answer, yes, that is so. Question 57. So, the Krang Tachang Security Center would send letters to the district, and then the district would answer. After that, executions would happen. Is that correct? He said, yes, that is correct. Question 58. So this means that the district would take the decision to execute. Is that so? Yes, the district would make those decisions. End of quote. Free translation.
selon vos constats,
According to your observations,
Mr. President, I would like to object to this question. Not the reading in itself, because that is indeed the question in E319.133. However, the questions 54 between 58 are speculative, because the witness has said also then before the investigators that he didn't see the text of the content of the envelopes. So repeating a speculative question within this document is again asking for speculation. So it's asking for speculation because he doesn't know what was in the envelope. So there's no connection between the content of the envelopes and alleged executions, or at least this witness cannot tell.
Mr. President, may I answer? The question that was put by the co-investigating judges, or in any case by the investigators, were based on prior statements of the witness. So it was sort of a summary of what the witness had already said. And also, I have not yet put any questions to the witness. I just quoted from this record, and I was ready to put a question, so I would like to be able to continue, please.
The President, yes, prosecutor, you may proceed.
So, according to your observations, each time a message was delivered from the district to the Krang Tachang Center, would executions follow necessarily?
Answer, yes.
And on the contrary, would Ta'an tell you during meetings that executions would take place without you having seen a messenger arrive before to Krang Tachang?
Answer, no.
Now I'm going to put to you a few questions regarding the An Roka Detention Center, because you spoke about this center in your written record of interview, E319.1.33, and I'm going to quote a lengthy passage, and then I will put a few follow-up questions to you afterwards. First, answer 60. They would start arresting people in the commune and held them at the district hall for interrogation. Then they were sent to Krang Tachang Security Office. Question 61. To your knowledge, who had the authority to issue the order to arrest people? Answer 61. When there was a conflict in a cooperative, the persons involved would be sent to the district, and after they had been interrogated at the district, they would be sent to Krang Tachang. Question 62. What was the interrogation site at the district office called? Answer 62. I do not recall the name of the place. It was about 300 to 400 meters west of Psar Ang Roka. Question 63. Did you ever go to that site? Answer 63. I used to deliver letters there. Question 64. Did you ever see any interrogations or arrests at that site? Answer. I saw people detained and shackled. Question 65. Was that detention site a prison? Answer. It was a prison, but it was used for light offenders. Serious offenders would be sent to Krang Tachang Security Office. Question 66. Who was responsible for interrogations at the prison near Ang Roka? Answer. Meng, M-E-N-G, was the interrogator and the administrator there. Question 67. What was Meng's position? Answer. Meng worked at the district hall but held no position. He only supervised the prison. At answer 69, You said, and I quote, "Because the place was for light offenders, and some prisoners from Krang Tachang were also sent there." Question 70. What were the approximate dimensions of the prison near Angroka? Answer. It was about 6 to 7 meters, and it was entirely made of wood. Question 71. To your knowledge, who had the authority to arrest people throughout Tramkak district? Answer. My thinking was that the commune level issued arrest orders and prepared the case file before forwarding it to district level. Question 75. How did you know that the commune level had the right to arrest people? Answer. First, the cooperatives reported to the communes, and militiamen would go arrest the designated people and send them to the prison near Angroka. If they were serious offenders, they would be sent to Krang Tachang. If they were light offenders, they were held at Angroka. I found out about this because commune level told me. End of quote. Do you know if this prison, located close to Angroka, depended directly on the security office of District 105, or it was tied to the Krang Tachang Security Center, or it was linked to both? In other words, did Ang sometimes give direct orders to Meng, who was the head of the Angroka prison?
Answer. I don't know anything based on what your quotes on this matter.
I only quoted from your record. How many times did you deliver messages to that prison or to that detention center for light offenders at Angroka?
Answer. I went there for 2 times.
And you said that you saw prisoners who were locked up and shackled. How many prisoners were there, as far as you remember?
Answer. The prisoners were detained there. They were accused of social problem, or they rape young people, they stole chicken or cassava for food, etc.
And both of these times, when you saw prisoners, did you see Meng interrogate prisoners?
I know Meng by his name, but I didn't see him when I went there 2 times.
You made a distinction here between light offenders who were detained at Angroka and heavy offenders who were transferred to Krang Tachang. And were 17 April people and officials and servicemen from the Lon Nol regime generally part of the heavy offender group that was transferred to Krang Tachang?
Answer. During that regime, they didn't say 17 April people or 18 April people. What they said, your hair is on your head, so everyone has to be mindful of our own business, his or her own business. Correction.
Il n'y avait pas.
So according to you, there was no distinction between the base people living near Kram Kak and the people who had been evacuated from the cities, such as Phnom Penh or Takeo.
And at that time, people were divided into 17 April people and 18 April people. But when anyone committed any wrongdoing, they were not distinguished from the two categories. They were the same. They were considered as the same.
Do you know how long the light offenders, that is to say, who had caused social problems, who maybe had committed rape, how long they would stay at Angkor Ka, and did you know what would happen to them in the end?
And they called them to attend the meeting, they give instruction, and later they were sent back to the cooperative.
Interpreter correction first. There was people who had committed theft and not rape. Previous question. So according to you, the prisoners at Angkor Ka were not executed. Is that what you wanted to say?
Bah.
Answer, yes.
Monsieur le Président, avec
Mr. President, with your leave before the break, I would like to show to the witness a document which I would like to display on the monitor. This is a document pertaining to the Angkor Ka Detention Center. It's document E3/4093. English, it's on the first page, 00831486. French, 00729674. Khmer, it's at pages 00270786-87. And with your leave, may I provide this document to the witness?
The President, you may proceed, prosecutor.
Alors c'est un message qui est adressé par un certain.
This is a message addressed by a soul-named son. And in the French version, the name is illegible, but in the English version, this person has been identified as Sang. Sang, therefore, sending a message to Bang Chun, Cheun, and the message is dated 7 August, and there is no year mentioned. And I'm going to read this message. Beloved Comrade Chun, with regard to prisoners from Chiang Tong Commune, request to send any children that cannot be separated from their mothers. Any bigger children that have already gone to the mobile units or children's units, request to, let them stay there and take just the mothers. But if children cannot be separated from their mothers, bring them in for interrogation, and after everything is finished, sweep them all clean. As for the widows from Trapeang Thom, Kang Chung North, who are currently staying at the place of Comrade Meng, request to sweep them all clean. Sung, 7 August, end of quote. Witness, this son requesting to sweep all the children and mothers clean is the same person as the chief of Tramkak district.
Yes, that name was the name of the district chief.
Est-ce que vous connaissez ce...
Do you know that person called Banchun to whom Sun addressed the message?
Yes, I do.
Pouvez-vous nous dire qui c'était, quelle était sa fonction?
Can you tell us who he was and what his duties were?
Chun was also at Krang Tachan, and he was one of the 6 party members there.
Et dans ce message, San...
And in that message addressed by Sun to one of the party members, he says that they should clean or sweep clean widows from Trapeang Thom Kang Cheng who were in Comrade Meng's home. These persons, who according to the district head had to be swept clean, were they executed at Ang Roka Detention Center or at Krang Tachan?
President, Councillor Victor Coupe, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Maybe I missed it. Maybe something went wrong in translation, but what exactly did the prosecution say about the illegibility of the name on the Khmer document? I think I heard him say that we can read the name Sun in English, but of course that's not a point of reference. The point of reference is the original or copy of the original version of this document. So I'm not quite sure what exactly the prosecution said, whether we can in fact read the name Sun on the Khmer document.
Monsieur le Président, ce que j'ai dit est différent.
Mr. President, what I said was different. What I said was that the French translators were not able to read the name of the person who signed that message. However, the English translators were able to decipher the name, and it was indeed Sun. There is no doubt on the original. The doubt has to do with the translation. There was a distinction that was made in the translation. Having made that clarification, can I resume my examination of this witness, Mr. President?
Yes, prosecutor, you may continue.
Merci.
Thank you. So we have a message identified as a message written by Sun, addressed to a member of the Krang Tachan leadership, and it has to do with widows from Trapeang Thom No who were in the custody of Meng, and Sun requests that those widows be smashed. So my question to the witness is whether he was aware that there were executions carried out near the Ang Roka Center, or whether those executions were carried out at Krang Tachan. បាទ
I did not know about that.
Le terme balayer
The term to sweep clean, is this synonymous to smashing or purging? And you did say that purging meant to execute.
The word to sweep clean means to execute, but I did not know about the widow or the women with the children.
Très bien. J'aurai un autre.
Very well. I will show you another document, and it is E3/4099. It is a report to Ankara by a person called Meng. Mr. President, may I request your leave to show the witness this document and to have it placed on the screen?
Yes, prosecutors, you may proceed.
Donc en Khmer, c'est la page 00.
In Khmer, it is 00270976, and I believe it goes on to the second page. In French, it is 00858037, and in English, 00322122. To sum up, this is a report to Ankara sent by Meng dated the 10th of January 1977, and Meng is requesting Ankara to consider the case of 4 persons sent by the commune to interrogate them and to monitor them. Among the 4 persons, beg your pardon, the first is called Tach Ang. Tach is spelled as follows: Thach, and Ang as Ang. And it is stated that it is a Khmer from Cambodia Krom. He was a soldier with the rank of corporal. He had fled from Pre Takao. Another person is called Sao Phon. Sao written as S-A-O, Phon, P-H-O-N. He was a former chief sergeant of the military. His activities were that he boasted that he had the money worth 10,000 and forged official travel documents. This Meng referred to here, is that the person who headed the Ang Roka prison?
I didn't know about this.
Dans ce rapport, on parle de.
In the report, mention is made of a former Long Nol soldier. My question is as follows. Did you know whether there were former Long Nol soldiers or officials imprisoned at Krang Tachan Security Center?
Regarding this matter, I can say that I was part of the guard unit, so I did not know where those people had been or where from where they came.
Très bien, peut-être.
Very well. Perhaps this will be my last line of questioning before the break regarding the description of the buildings and sites at Krang Tachan. Let me quote what you stated. It is transcript D319.1.33 question 172. Were you armed when guarding prisoners? Your answer was no. I guarded the soldiers, but I was not armed because the weapons had to be kept in the warehouse during the day. End of quote. I don't know how you translate arsenal in Khmer, but that is where weapons are kept. Can you tell us where the arsenal at Krantachan Center was in relation to Ta An's office or in relation to the detention facilities or detention buildings?
Regarding the weapons in the warehouse, in fact, at night time we were given a firearm each, and by morning they will be collected and locked in a warehouse.
D'accord, et pour la nuit?
Very well. How about the night? What were you given by way of weapons? Were they bladed weapons or firearms?
It was AK-47 and M16 rifles.
Vous avez déclaré dans la même...
You stated in the same record of interview, answer 177, the question was as follows. When prisoners were being executed, did you hear any noises? Answer, I heard the sounds of people being beaten and killed, but I did not hear their screams since the prisoners were too weak. They killed people by striking them with the backs of hoes and bamboo clubs. Were the hoes and bamboo clubs used for killing prisoners also kept in the warehouse?
No, they were kept outside the warehouse.
Est-ce que vous avez vu ces douilles de pioche?
Did you see these backs of hoes and bamboo clubs? Or how did you know that these were the weapons that were used for executing the prisoners?
I did not see them as I only guarded and worked outside.
Et pourtant, vous avez dit au juge d'instruction.
And yet, you told the co-investigating judges that the people were being killed with backs of hoes and bamboo clubs. Were spears also kept in the arsenal or outside the warehouse for purposes of executing people?
No, I did not see them. President, it is now convenient to have a short break. We'll take a break now, and we will resume at 10:30 to continue our hearing of the testimony. And court officer, please assist the witness during this break and invite him as well as his duty counsel to the courtroom at 10:30 this morning. The court is now in recess.
សូមអញ្ជើញក្រោកឈរ